Everyone knew. Everyone was told, everyone received the information, everyone that we're going through by way of these examples, everyone was told, and yet everyone was told. I remember as a child, there were times when I would be told by a parent or an adult that if you do such and such a thing, this is what's going to happen. All right, good. I would go and do such and such a thing to find out, yep, that happened. As I was told, I had been forewarned, and yet it meant nothing. It meant nothing. Eventually you learn. Hopefully you learn. But with humanity, with us, we can be told. We can be told repeatedly. We can be told by very faithful people. We can be told by God, and yet we start with Ahab. With Ahab, he decides that he's going to go against that of Ramoth Gilead. And this is what Micaiah says to him. But Micaiah said, if you ever return, so it's Jehoshaphat who wants to hear it from a true prophet of Jehovah. It's Jehoshaphat who wants to, okay, should we go up there or not? Let's get a real prophet. Well, a real prophet comes, and eventually he does say this. If you ever return in peace, the Lord has not spoken by me. And he said, take heed, all you people. And he just told Ahab, prior to this, that everyone's coming back, and they're coming back without a leader. That would mean Ahab. Ahab's not coming back alive. Ahab's not coming back at all. And here's this final warning before they take him off into prison. Micaiah says, if you ever return in peace, the Lord has not spoken by me. Well, the Lord did speak by him, and he doesn't come back in peace. He comes back dead. His body is brought back. Then he says, take heed, all you people. And that also meant Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah. Now, Jehoshaphat, just like Ahab, went up there, though Micaiah doesn't say that Jehoshaphat is going to die. He doesn't say that, and Jehoshaphat doesn't. It's Ahab that's going to be dead. But here, take heed, all you people. Yeah, Ahab hears exactly what God has to say, and he's going to go anywhere. And Jehoshaphat asked, should we go up? And Micaiah says, if you go up, it's not going to be good for Ahab. You're going to lose anyway. You're going to lose, and Ahab's going to die. But he's going to go up there. Jehoshaphat goes up anyway. Why did you even ask? Why did you ask if you're not going to listen to him anyway? You're just going to do what you're going to do, or you're going to do what Ahab wants to do? And so, why even bother with it? Next we go to Saul. Saul is going against the Philistines. He wants to suddenly inquire of the Lord, of which Saul hadn't been doing that. Suddenly, he wants to inquire, and he's not getting anything from Jehovah. There is no message. Samuel is dead. Now, we don't even see Saul ever going to Samuel to find out anything of the Lord. Samuel would go to him, but we never see where, while Samuel was alive, Saul would go to him and talk to him and ask about what is the Lord saying about this or that. He never does. But now he does. Now he wants to know, Samuel's dead. He wants to talk to Samuel, and so he's got to go to a particular medium to do it. Well, that's what he's going to do, though that is against the law of Moses to do that. Whether you're practicing it or you're going to inquire of one, it was all forbidden. But God allows something to happen, and that is Samuel does show up. And Samuel does say some things. And Samuel says something. And it goes right back into the category of, why did you bother in all this? Because you're going to do what you're going to do. You're going to do what you want to do anyway. Did you want him just to confirm what you wanted to do? Just say, yeah, go on up. You'll have no problem with the Philistines. Because that's what as though that's what the message is. But here is what Samuel says. Moreover, the Lord will also deliver Israel with you into the hand of the Philistines. And tomorrow you and your sons will be with me. Well, Samuel's dead. And he's saying tomorrow you and your sons, you're going to be over on this side. Now, you can't get more specific than that. We could have waited on this conversation tomorrow, and we could have had this conversation tomorrow and not involved any kind of witch or any kind of medium. We could have this conversation. Of course, then it's going to be too late, but it doesn't matter because Saul is being told. He's being told directly what is going to happen. Your question is being asked. The Lord will also deliver the army of Israel into the hands of the Philistines. And as it turns out, yes, Saul and his sons, of which Jonathan dies there too, which is extremely sad because Jonathan had almost the same level of faith as David did. And why do I say that? Because there are things that while Jonathan didn't go against Goliath, Jonathan and his armor bearer, Jonathan and the man with him, they did go against a garrison of the Philistines. Just the two of them. Now that took some faith. And he does say the Lord can win with many or few. And the two of them go on. And it's a sorrowful thing that Jonathan died in there. But here, Saul knew. Saul could have saved his life and the life of his sons if he wanted to, and just not gone to battle with the Philistines. He could have done it, but he doesn't. And once again, we come to this question of why did you bother anyway? Why did you inquire? Why ask the question if you don't like the answer? Why ask at all? If you're going to listen, good. If you're not going to listen, it doesn't matter. Just do whatever it is that you think you need to do. Now we come to Israel, and we see this in Deuteronomy. And in Deuteronomy, it is God telling them through Moses, telling them their future. Now it's a future that most of it they would never see because it's going to be beyond their lifetime. They are getting ready to go into Canaan. They are getting ready to cross the Jordan. They're going to go without Moses. Moses is going to die on Mount Nebo. These are his last words given to Israel. The entire book of Deuteronomy is really the last days of Moses' life and the things that he has to say, repeating certain things. But there's also this prophecy that is there. And it's as though, and it is, as though you are reading the history of Israel before it's even occurred. And it's really, really accurate. It's very accurate, even to the point of, while it doesn't say AD 70, even to the point of the events of AD 70, it's there. All right? Which, how are you going to do that? How are you going to predict all of that history in about, 1300, 1400 BC? How are you going to do that? That's a very, very impossible thing to do. That you can't do it. Now, and it shall be that just as the Lord rejoiced over you to do good and multiply you, so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you and bring you to nothing, and you shall be plucked from the land which you go to possess. Then the Lord will scatter you among all peoples from one end of the earth to the other, and there you shall serve other gods, which neither you nor your fathers have known, wood and stone. Now, one could say, well, that could have been done in the days of the judges. Well, actually, no, not really. This would have been under Assyria and Babylon, and of course Persia coming in later. But that is exactly what happened. That is exactly what happened, of where Assyria takes the northern kingdom and they are scattered. They are sent far away from home because the Assyrians don't want them staying at home. They'll just rebel and riot and always be a problem. You scatter them out through the empire and bring others in your empire to Israel, then everybody's kind of on the wrong foot. Everybody can't really unite like they would want to. And so they are scattered. There is what is known as the dispersion, of which still exists to this day. And it started then. It started then. And among those nations you shall find no rest, nor shall the sole of your foot have a resting place. But there the Lord will give you a trembling heart, failing eyes, and anguish of soul. So He is telling them centuries in advance what's going to happen. And someone coming along much later, a righteous king, finds, or that scroll is found in the Lord's house, and he reads it and he realizes this is about to happen. This is going to happen. And does his best to turn that nation around. Does his best to do it. Now, once he's gone, it goes back to wickedness. It goes right back to it. But they were told, and yet they disregarded it completely. Now, I want to also just address some things that I truly believe in the way that God works. That God gave warning in the days of Noah, not just to Noah. I think He definitely told that there was a message that did go out to the world in the days of Noah. I don't think He kept it a secret. I don't think He did that at all. And that if someone wanted to, they could walk right into that ark. If they weren't forbidden from doing that. If they wanted to, they could have. God knew that they weren't. He knew it. But they cannot stand, and none of these can stand before God and say, you didn't tell us this. You made no attempt to warn us. Yeah, the warning was given. You just ignored it. The warning was given. You just thought it as nothing and went on your way. Now, we also have that of David and Uzzah and the events that happened with Uzzah, and David trying to move the Ark of the Covenant in a way it wasn't supposed to be moved. And we see in 2 Samuel of where there is the disaster of Uzzah having to, well, he didn't have to, Uzzah reaching out to steady the ark, and he dies before the Lord because no one is to touch the ark. It is holy. You don't touch it. But everyone was told. And when Aaron, going back to Numbers 4:15, centuries before David is alive, before he's even born, here is everything concerning how to handle all of the furnishings of the tabernacle, which included the Ark of the Covenant. And Aaron and his sons have finished when Aaron and his sons have finished covering the sanctuary and all the furnishings of the sanctuary, when the camp is set to go. All right, so Aaron, this obviously Levitical priesthood. All right, only Aaron and his sons, his direct descendants, his sons can do this first thing. They are the ones that put a covering over all of the furnishings. They do that. When the camp is set to go, then the sons of Kohath. Now that's a different part of the Levites. They are in the tribe of Levi. But this is, their father is Kohath, not Aaron. Their father is Kohath. The sons of Kohath shall come to carry them, but they shall not touch any holy thing, lest they die. Okay, now, here it is. God spelling it out, telling who's supposed to cover it, how it's supposed to be moved. First off, one, that it has to be covered. And who does that? Then, who moves it? And even if you are Aaron, or even if you are a son of Kohath and you have every right to be part of this, you have every right to be part of this, even then, if you touch it, you die. Now, what about Uzzah? What about him? He's not a priest. He's not from Kohath, and they're not transporting it like they should anyway. Now, David actually doesn't fully take the blame when we go to 1 Chronicles. He doesn't fully take the blame for this, but he can actually recite this and say, this is actually the way we should have done it. He can say that. And here is the warning. Here is the warning concerning that Ark of the Covenant, how it's to be moved, everything about it, and you just decide you're going to move it however you want. You can't. And something like this happens, and now a man is dead. All right, so now we go to disciples. Disciples. Now, unlike the other things that we have discussed thus far, this next one is not so much of a warning as it is to prepare. But they don't take it in. It remains something that they just haven't quite grasped. From that time, Jesus began to show his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things from the elders and the chief priests and scribes and be killed and be raised the third day. We've discussed this before, that there's a part of this, the first part of this is a very terrible part. That is a very sad part. And every bit of this is literal. Every bit of it. That he would be raised the third day. There is the good news. That's the good news that makes all the rest of this irrelevant. That he will and be killed. That's what he said. But third day, he's raised. He's back. He's not down for very long. He's raised. He dies Friday afternoon. He's back Sunday morning. He is back. And there is everything they need to know concerning the crucifixion, everything they need to know, and that he will be raised. And yet, they've got to argue about it. And you have someone like Peter who knows what the first bit of that means, but the second bit, that of being raised the third day, they even doubt those who come and tell them, we have seen the Lord. They doubt him. Well, he said he was coming back. He said he was being raised. And yeah, take it literal. Could God do this? Yes. Is there a reason to not believe he will do this when he said he would do this? Is there another way to think about this? I would have to say, no, not really. If God can do it, and God said that's what's going to be done, then, and I can't look down my nose on them because I wasn't there. I have the benefit of 2,000 years and the entire New Testament being written. I'm not witnessing it firsthand as it's happening. Now, we go to Judas. Judas, this is a warning. And here is a man who's already set. He knows what he's ready to do. He knows how. He knows what he's being paid, how much he's being paid. He knows when. He knows everything. Everything has been worked out by him. And so we have this. In the evening he came with the 12. Now as they ate, Jesus said, assuredly I say to you, one of you who eats with me will betray me. And they began to be sorrowful and to say to him one by one, "Is it I?" And another said, "Is it I?" Well, if we go back to Matthew and look at this, because this is coming out of Mark, if we go to Matthew and look at this, we see that the another is in fact Judas. Judas, "Lord, is it I?" And Judas knew it was. He already had the plans made. He already had the agreement and how much he was going to be paid, who was going to pay him, how all this was going to be done. He already had it. And here is this is a wicked man who can say, "Is it I?" when he knows it is. And he knows there are two people in that room that know it's him. Judas and Christ. And he knows it. Because Jesus says there in Matthew, "You have said it." Yeah, it's you. And now the rest did not hear that, did not understand what was said one way or another, because it was a surprise that Judas was the one that did it. But we continue on. He answered and said to them, "It is one of the 12 who dips with me in the ditch. Now, the Son of Man indeed goes just as it is written of him, but woe to that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed." Woe to that man. And that man just said, "Lord, is it I?" Now there's this declaration of woe to that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. And this, to hear, if I were to hear my Creator say this about me, yeah, I think I would just die then. He says it would have been good for that man if he had never been born. Your Creator saying that about you. How wicked do you have to be? How numb do you have to be? How far have you killed your conscience? How far have you allowed sin to just take over? It's a long way. It is a long way. And he knows, Christ knows. He knows it. He also knows that Christ is talking about him. He also knows that. And yet he's going to do whatever you do, do quickly. Whatever you do. And a few years ago we had a sermon on those very words. Whatever you do. That Christ didn't tell him, go do it and do it quickly. He didn't say that. He didn't say that at all. He said, whatever you do, do it quickly. That you're going to have to make a decision. And the decision's got to be made pretty quick. You don't have hours. You certainly don't have days. Whatever you're going to do, you need to decide quickly. And he does not tell him how to decide. He does not tell him what to do. Matter of fact, he has said, if the one who does that, it would have been better if he had not been born at all. It would have been better if he never existed. Those are extremely harsh words. Now, we come to us, that everyone today is told. Everyone has the information if they want it. Everyone can get it. Everyone can have it. Everyone today. And we're just going to take this. There's numerous places where we can go. Acts chapter 17, beginning in verse 30. Truly these times of ignorance God overlooked, but commands all men everywhere to repent. Why? Because he has appointed a day on which he will judge the world in righteousness by the man whom he has ordained. He has given assurance of this to all by raising him from the dead. Now this is putting a lot of things together. That we must repent of the things that we have done. We can't remain in ignorance. And Paul is telling those Athenians, they're in ignorance. This time of ignorance God overlooked. This time of ignorance where you just have all these shrines, all these temples, all these various gods, all these things. All right, that's done. That's done. He overlooked these things, and exactly how he's going to judge that's up to him. It has nothing to do with us because we don't live in that time. We don't live in that time of ignorance because Paul said that stopped. When he's talking to them in Acts chapter 17 in the first century, he says that time is done away with. Now it's time to repent. And then he says, why? Because there is judgment. Why is there? Because there is judgment, and he has given assurance of his judge by raising him from the dead. Now that's the point at which those philosophers, the Epicureans and the Stoics, said, okay, well, that's enough of this. When they heard the resurrection, okay, we've heard enough for today. Now some did take a greater interest in wanting to know more, and were willing to know more from Paul. Others said, we will hear about this matter another day, which may or may not have actually been sincere. It's hard to know what that one is. But others mocked, and that this seemed as nothing to them. But here is the information given to us all. And is there a different response today concerning Christ, concerning the judgment, concerning that all this has been given assurance to everyone, has been assured of this by raising Christ from the dead? Is there a different response? No, there are those that mock it immediately. Others that may say, yeah, I'll listen to this another time, when maybe they mean it, maybe they don't. And then others who, out of true sincerity and true concern and wanting to know the truth, will listen and learn. But we have had, just like with Israel, having that about 1,000 years worth of warning, 1,000 years of prophets who have been prophesying to them over and over and over, some in writing, some by telling and not writing. All of those warnings, they had been given those warnings, and then the day came when it's over. The day came and it is done. What God said would happen, happened. Same thing concerning the flood, same thing concerning the day of judgment. Now we've been given over 2,000 years information that Jesus, the Son of God, will come back, and He will judge every single one of us. We too have been told. Are we acting any differently than those before us? We need to. Are we giving a positive response to a warning? I remember years ago in Iceland, the Icelandic are very proud of their language, though they know nobody else knows it. And their street signs are in Icelandic, which means their warning signs are in Icelandic. And I'm going down a very lonely gravel road in the middle of, it looks like Mars. And there is this, what is obviously a warning. It was a big red triangle or orange triangle or something. And then there was like lightning bolts on it. And it had a lot of big words with a lot of consonants. And I had no idea what it said. And the fellow who was with me said, I wonder what that says. And I had to say, I don't know, but I think we should go cautiously from this point. Even when I don't know what it really says, I don't know what it says. I know it's trying to warn me of something. It's time to show some caution now and go very easy. I had no idea what, if there had been a picture involved, maybe I would have gotten it. But here is the thing. God has given us more by way of warning. He's given it to us years in advance. He's given it to us in multiple languages where we don't have to go to an original language to find it. Now, if you want to, you can. But He's given it to us in multiple languages, and it's all over the world. What are we doing with it? Everyone knew, everyone was told, and yet in all of these, they just did not get it. You don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like that. Let's take the warning and let's heed it. Let's take what God has given us and do right. Let's take what God has given us and be faithful to Him. That's what He's asking us to do. Why shouldn't we be? He created us. We need to look at our own lives and understand we better fear God. And everyone will be on the final day. Everyone will be. And seeing God firsthand, seeing Christ coming and judging everyone, obey Him now. Whatever needs to be done, let's do it. If you need to respond to the invitation, if we can help you in any way, we ask that you come as we stand and sing.